In this video, I'm going to go over a way of drawing which I learned first when I was in school. That is mass drawing. So in this, it's a really quick way to set up a drawing. When I did this in class, we were working from a model, and what we did was basically do an envelope or just a shape in which we see what we're going to fit on the page, whether it's just a head shot or head and shoulders or the entire body, what have you. It's just marking indications on your page where you want these things to go. And then using the masses of light and dark, begin to develop your drawing based on that. So I'm looking for the big shapes, and I'm going to use a phrase that's probably been used a lot, going from the very general to the particulars, going from the big things to the little shapes. And this is what we did. This is a very fast way of drawing. And, you know, just instead of using something like what's popular now is the Lumis method, I think this way of drawing is actually a lot older. And the whole idea is to do this type of drawing thinking of yourself as a sculptor. That is, you're taking a lump of clay and you're taking that clay and you're molding it into the shape that you want. And so like a sculptor, there's some things that you may take out with your eraser or that you put in with your pencil, and you keep doing this back and forth until you get the shapes the way that you want them, in the space that you want them, in the proportion that you want it. And so in this way also you work out the values. You basically work from a middle value, and then you start building the darks on top of that, and then you figure out where the lights you're going to leave. There are different ways of working this way. Some people have, and I have, started off with like a dark paper, like a toned paper, and basically you work out your middle values and your darks, and then you save your lights for the last, and you can put them in with white pencil, white chalk, or like what we did before was we would flood the page with graphite, and just pick out the graphite, the lights with the kneaded eraser. You can also use like what I'm doing here, where I used a stomp to rub the graphite and make values with them, and then refine them, because it's all about placing these things down and refining them. And that's pretty much what sculptors do, right? They take this clay and they continue to refine it. They take out clumps of clay, they put smaller portions back in, and they shape it, and then you get so that you get what you want. And there's this constant tug and this tug and pull, and just moving things according to what you want. There's several painters, just thinking along the lines of two-dimensional art now, several painters that I believe worked in this fashion, and they describe their methods that way, Sargent being one of them. There's a portrait of an actress that he did, I think it's Eleanor Duce or I don't know how to pronounce her last name, but it's an unfinished portrait, and in it you can see where he basically puts down his middle values. This is all working with paint. There isn't any drawing that he did initially. He might have indicated where to place his head on the canvas, and then rubbed out everything else to make not rubbed out everything else, but rubbed out part of it to give the canvas a faint gray tone. But that's about it. Basically, with the brush and with the paint, he talked about being able to draw with paint on the canvas. So from this portrait, or the start of this portrait, which was never finished, you can see that he just blocked in the big shapes, the middle values, and the darks as he prepared to make the painting. Now, the reason why he never finished it was that his model, after that session, decided that she didn't want to come back I guess that she was kind of a prima donna, or just someone who just felt, kind of uppity. So sitting too long for a portrait was something that she didn't want to do. My guess, but that portion of it we don't know. We just know that she said thank you very much and walked out, and that was it. But it left us this great canvas where Sargent showed the beginning of his painting, his start, how he would work it out from the start, and to begin to develop the image that he wanted to. So in that same way, in that same idea, I'm developing this image. One of the things, though, you may notice towards the end, on the right side, there's a kind of glare that I get from this pencil, and I had a light over this, and unfortunately, that's the reason why this film is in black and white, to just kind of limit that glare. But other than that, I promise you that towards the end of this this video, you'll see the finished drawing, a scanned image, and not from this from not one that shows the reflections of the light that was overhead at the time that I was drawing this. But the doing this video in black and white kind of helped a lot. So just keeping the simple gray values instead of trying to make I guess the RGB or whatever work. So anyway, a lesson learned, and for future videos, not to have that glaring light, and to make whatever corrections I have later on in the videos. But as regards to my videos, it's something that I'm getting used to as far as using DaVinci Resolve as opposed to what I've used before, which was the Adobe Premiere Pro. So I made that switch because I didn't need to keep paying for the Premiere Pro, at least for right now. It was comfortable using it because it was something I was familiar with, and this is something that I am getting to know as I go along. But in any case, for those who make videos out there, DaVinci Resolve is a great alternative, particularly since it's free. And there's a paid version, and that paid version is not astronomical in price. So that's for my editing software anyway. But as far as this drawing is concerned, and I sped it up, but the thing is that it didn't take that long to get to this point in real time to begin with. It's a very quick way of drawing. One of the ways that I've used this is drawing on the subway since I was in high school. And so you can see that there, and one of the things about this too is, if you can see underneath his chin, there's a great area of shadow. Now I can design this and decide what I want to do with that shadow, how I would break it up. Right now, there's a great deal of definition within that shadow. I didn't, not that it's implied that, you would know that the chin is somewhere in there, and the head is growing out of that shadow. So, so I can decide what I want to leave in, or what I want to take out, how much of this shadow that I want to remain just one big shape. I can break it up, but I don't have to. And the same thing with the hair. One of the things, you might hear me often talk about another piece of artwork that I've seen, or some other artist, and how they work, because there's a lot of learning in the past. So one of the things that I learned from viewing paintings, there's a painting by Rembrandt, a self-portrait, and when I looked at it, there's a way that it's painted that kind of fools the eye, because all the rendering was in the face. You would think that even though it was the hands were included in here, but it was just basically the hands were just kind of sketched out. His shirt or smock that he was wearing was mostly suggested, a few hints of a fold here and there, and the hat that was on his head was basically a dark shape. Very little details, just one or two accents to indicate some fold or some change or some of the roundness, but not a lot of detail. It's like you accept what it is based on the shape and also based on the fact that that's what goes on top of his head. But it all works because he says, well, if you know that's what goes on top of his head, all I need to do is suggest it so that you know that that's a hat on his head. And you know that that's a shirt that he's wearing. So all I need to do is suggest these folds here and there, but it's just to give you enough to read it as such. And that's it. And then it doesn't take away from the painting at all, because your focus is on what he wants you to see, and there's so much richness and detail and color there. You know, outside of there, there's less variation of values and color. There's just basic, just what you need. But within the area that he wants you to look, he puts all his information, all of his attention, so that you can put all of your attention there. So in the same way, when I think of how I'm going to do his hair, or how I'm going to do that shadow underneath his chin, you know, I can figure out what do I need to put in, and just give you enough to suggest what's there or what's underneath. There's enough that shadow is all you need to read his neck area. And you can see from the photo that I'm using that I'm just using the info. I'm not adding in terms of making stuff up. I'm using the information there and I'm editing it. I'm deciding what I want to use and how much of this information do I want to use to add to my image. So I'm giving you a version of this reference, which I took myself. So I with drawing or painting this in mind. So I'm giving you a version of this based on my interpretation of the reference, and not being a slave to it, but using the information that's there and then interpreting it in a way that that basically I can pull off a decent drawing from. So that being said, that's basically what I've done with the area underneath his chin. I tried to leave it a big shape. I tried to leave the darkness on the left side also a big shape. Now on the right hand side, on my right hand side, you can see a little bit of a glare at this point as I was working on the darks there, and so it comes up every now and then. But like I said, it's not going to take away from this at least this video for right now, but it won't be there next time. So but and I'm coming to the end of it. It's a quick video, but just basically to show this idea of there's more than one way to draw. There's more than one way to do a portrait. There's more than one way to draw someone's head or someone's face. There's a lot of people who swear by different methods that were not always here. And not that these methods are bad, they're actually great, but they're not the only way to draw. And it's good to have kind of a different choice in your arsenal when you go to draw. So this is a choice that you can have when you go to draw that's different from the methods that are out there. And it's really simple and basic. You see a shape and you develop that shape. So here's the final drawing. You can see away from the glare and just more details than I that was shown on the video, but the video was enough to just illustrate the lesson, which was about doing a drawing or portrait based on what I would call mass drawing. So that's the video for this week, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Thank you so much for watching. See you again soon. All right, bye-bye.